is Simon Cruikshank from the Ministry of Education is not available. Yaldhurst Rural Residents Association, Bob Cross.
Afternoon, Madam Chair and councillors. Okay, our main submission to the council, of course, has been, to the long-term plan, has been strongly opposing the proposed change to the criteria in the rural differential, for the rural differential, or to be able to claim the rural differential. Firstly, we feel that it is a hugely unfair burden on the properties that fall outside of the criteria. The rate increase, should this go ahead, will be somewhere in the vicinity of 40+%. And I don't care which way the accountants actually tot it up. I've done the sums myself on my own property, which doesn't qualify, and that's what I come up with. So that's the first point I want to hammer home. It certainly doesn't blend in with the so-called predicted rate rise of 8%, as stated publicly. The second thing that actually is needs to be sort of brought home is the fact of how this criteria was dreamed up. Over the 15 years I've been a member of the rural community, I think just about every 5 years the council has made an attack on the rural differential one way or the other. This is the second time I've been in front of the council talking about it. The last time it was actually against the actual reasoning for the differential. So there's no argument from the council side of it that a rural differential shouldn't exist. That's not what we're here to discuss. What we're here to discuss is how you dreamed up how the staff members dreamed up the criteria. And from what I can find out, I think it was like a finger in the air, and if the wind caught it, it stuck. And 5 hectares seemed to be a perfect way of actually putting a figure on what was a farming activity. How the hell that came about, I have no idea. And I think it's just another accountant's way of actually taking the easy choice for choosing a rates policy, in that there's no real depth of looking or checking or analysing different ways of attaining rates. It's just a simple maths or a simple formula. The trouble with the wonderful criteria is that probably from the Yaldhurst Rural Residents Group and the members it encompasses is the fact that the properties would probably be in the 75, maybe even up to 80% of would fall outside or wouldn't apply in this criteria. They'd be all under. Because generally speaking, the rural land use that's contained in the council's plans relates to 4 hectare blocks or 10 acres as the absolute minimum you can subdivide down to. So obviously the rate take for the area that I'm concerned with is going to be of a very beneficial nature to the council's coffers. What also gets me is, and I believe there's a briefing paper being sent to you, Madam Mayor, that was actually outlining some discussions and some process for consultation. Let me 100%, maybe 200% assure you that no consultation has taken place other than the standard letter that was sent to me and other members of the community, whereby they were advised that they may want to look at the long-term plan documentation to see if the criteria applied. When I talked to the writer of that letter shortly after I got it, he agreed that how the process had come about and was wanting some strong feedback. Well, hopefully you've got it, Madam Mayor. The issue I have is right across the board, the council, certainly from the councillors and the mayor's perspective, there is a general feeling that we're keen to actually engage with the community groups and get the feedback. Well, how the hell can you make a policy whereby, or come up with a policy whereby you don't engage with the community, you don't actually see how or what other options could actually possibly explored? I completely feel that there are parts of the rural community that probably aren't rural in nature, for want of a better word. However, the plan doesn't actually justify, and we've long since gone past that point where you had to make economic use of the land to actually justify the rural rates differential. So what I would suggest for this decision is, if you want to have a reasonable dialogue, you engage with the community over the next 10 years or till the next LTP review and come up with a better way of actually diagnosing the reasons for having a criteria for the rural rates differential and who that applies to. Not some willy-nilly figure out of the air that just is dreamed up on the hope that possibly no one will complain, or the hope that it's the easiest way to do it. There's got to be a different way, and I can give you examples, and quite a few, of people that are in less than 2 hectares are economically deriving an income from their rural holding. So, Madam Mayor, I believe that this is totally unjust, and I would like to see it removed from the table and some other mechanism put in place to engage with those communities that cover the rural sector and come up with a better idea. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You agree that the current discount is applied where the property is zoned rural or residential in the city, remote, defined as outside the sewer network,
yep,
and primarily used for farming or forestry.
Yes.
That's the current criteria.
It's a bit more than that, but yes, generally that's it.
Yeah, so the difficulty that staff have had, and you've obviously got the memo that we
yep,
got at the earlier stage of the process.
Yep.
The difficulty is that some people who simply have a lifestyle block, who don't farm it at all, have claimed this discount.
Well, I don't say they have claimed it. I would say they get the benefit of it.
Well, they have.
It's not a claim thing. You don't put a claim in to get a rural discount. It's just automatic because you're zoned rural.
Well, that's not how the criteria actually work. But I mean, the truth is that we've had a number of submissions on this already. We've already said that we will, be considering this matter carefully. Yep. The points that you've raised are valid in terms of process, and they require us to consider this in a little bit more detail.
Yes, thank you for that. And there's been quite a lot of other submissions on it as well. Just in terms of the process that you suggested of laying it on the table and sorting it through over a period of years, I'm wondering if that could perhaps be done over a shorter period than 10 years, because we do an annual plan as well as the 10-year plan. So maybe a process that works over the next year, where there's consultation and debate about what this could be, might be a better process, or what's your view?
Absolutely, yeah. Yep. That to me would at least engage the community properly, of those affected communities, definitely. And I think from that, those communities can go, as the papers or the proposals come through, those communities can actually take it to their members and work through some dialogue to come back with a considered way of going forward.
Do you realise this doesn't make any actual difference to the council's overall rate?
I do, yep. Yeah. I've already had that explained to me by the writer of the letter. Yeah. But but it does make a hell of a difference to the owners of the...
It does, and sometimes looking for an administratively easy way to get to an end point doesn't necessarily produce a just outcome. So you can be assured that the submissions process has effectively drawn council's attention to this, and we will definitely be taking that into account.
That's good. I do hope so.
So, well, look, thank you very much for making the time to come in today.
Yep. And
I wish that we had a better process for actually dealing with issues as a grouping of submissions, but we have been unsuccessful in terms of getting people to agree to a particular time to address an issue so that we could just deal with all of them at once. But people have busy lives and it hasn't been possible to do that. And, you know, I guess it's a process that we need to look at for future plans as well.
But it's something that I don't think was even asked. You know, while it's everybody's busy, and I agree that, but if the question's not put out there to bring those rural community groups or representatives together, then you know, that's a different story.
Well, maybe we could do that for the rest of the submissions then. Okay. No, thank you very much for that feedback.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Chris Dowdney.